I may not always be the fastest technology adopter. I mean, did really wait to get into a smartphone and texting until I actually had a child back in the 2000s, 2011 when she was born. So, not always the fastest, but you know what? I'm on board now with ChatGPT and how AI can help me as a business owner to be more efficient and to be more creative and spend more time doing the parts of the business where I can really tailor things and customize things for my clients, but create more efficiency in the other spaces of my business. So if you're like me, I want to tell you a little bit more why I think GPT, if I can say it now, is better than Google. It's been so helpful to me, and I'll share a few things of what I've done. And I'm just still scratching the surface, but what you can look into as well. There's so many things that are going on out there right now that you can check into many different services and get completely overwhelmed. I've been there too. I'm recommending right now is start with some things that are just free or just using GPT as a great place to start. So I'm going to share my screen and show a couple things you can do from how you can write better content, whether that's a blog, a social media post, an email, whatever it might be, to which I think is the way a lot of people are getting started, but how you can also use it as like a brainstorming or collaboration tool, especially if you don't always have a group to get back together and talk through things with. It can be a great to help you with that, to be able to maybe do some research or some brainstorming. And then also how you can also use it for project management. That's one of the newest things I've started to use it for, to outline processes and scope of things and objectives. And that's been really helpful as well. Certainly so many more things you can use it from friends of mine that use it to help tell bedtime stories to their kids, to figuring out what to cook for dinner. It's endless, really, as much as our creativity helps to drive it, and how knowing what to ask it to get the results that you're kind of looking for. But the good news is, I find it so much simpler than Googling when you get served up with all these ads or pages after pages of information. And you're just trying to kind of distill it down sometimes to what do I really need that I'm looking for. So let's get into it. So, like I said, I'm just using the Chat GPT, the free version. Uh, why do I keep doing this? Share screen. There we go. So it's not costing me anything. Now, depending on when you get on it, if you haven't used it, it might be busier than others, might take a little bit of time, but I really haven't had uh, problems with it. So I'm going to go to my window here. So you end up being kind of like folder all these different chats. As the more you use it within one stream, the more it's going to get to know what you're looking for and continue to refine that. So you can get rid of those at any time if it gets to be too much, but I can keep some things in there so I can go back and continue to add to it. And it's just going to get all the better based off of that. But starting off and everything, you can just put anything in here, like, um, you know, tell me the top 10 ideas, uh, 10 social media ideas for financial advisors to get more clients. Sure, we all want more clients. Let's see what it comes up with. So here's 10 social media ideas for financial advisors. Share educational content, highlight success stories, offer free resources. So if you're like, okay, well, you know what? I kind of like that. Okay, I want to do more success stories. So you could say, we'll stop generating, or it's just going to 10. We'll let it go. Okay, we might say, take number, let's see, 2 above the highlight success stories, and provide 2 examples. See what we get. So you can be really rough and direct, and it can kind of go what you're saying. Otherwise, I'm going to give you some few more structures that can help you refine that a little bit more. So here's a case study it's coming up with. Now, obviously, there's some limits with this. If you're going to be super technical about statistics, or wanting to cite something, this data is only up through, I think it's like 2020 2022. Now I'm getting the date wrong myself. But you want to make sure that you go back and actually get the most current information if it's something specific like that. But this can give you a great starting point where you're like, oh, now maybe I can think about a client I have myself that maybe is similar to Jane's journey and how I can personalize that. The other thing you could do is you could type in something that you've written and just have it enhance it. So I've done that with some things in here where I've said, let's see here, for some attorneys working with, I said, you know, give me, go back up to the top here. Show you kind of, it said, write a 60-second video answer for an attorney to answer the question, what do I need to know when I get married? Please write in English, of course. So it wrote something. And then I came back and said, write this to be more clear and to be able to spoken in 60 seconds. And I threw in some content of what I had. I took parts of it that I liked and parts of it I knew that were like, oh, I wouldn't really say it that way. My client wouldn't say it that way. Or this is their specific thing that we want to make sure that's included in there. So we continue to refine that, say, rephrase the question. Um, doing some rephrasing. You can do some things here in terms of writing in certain styles. So let's say we've got this in here. I can say, summarize the above in terms of tone, style, and if I could type style and brand voice. And let's see what if I go down back to the end of this, wherever I was. The above text is informative, straightforward with a professional, authoritative tone. So you could do something like that and then use that in the future to say, okay, write the following in this same type of tone and just copy this and save this somewhere like in a note on your computer or a task or something and stuff. So you can always say, hey, I want to write in the same thing. Or if maybe you don't like that, you could say something, write the content above in something that's more in bullets or summarize it in 3 simple steps. And it will do that for you as well. So it can be really great to digest things in different ways, depending on if you wanted to elaborate and make things bigger, or you want to make things simpler, like we try to do for our clients. So think about that in terms of a project. Another thing you could do. So I have a webinar series project plan I was working on in here. And I just told it, develop a project plan for a webinar series that runs every spring and fall with 3 segments and features a guest interview on each one and provides social media recaps afterwards. And it says, okay, here's some objectives, project scope, project deliverables, project plan. Certainly it's not going to be perfect and things I'm going to customize in there, but it gives you a really great starting point to then say, oh, maybe I forgot to have that in there, or now I can give it to my team and have them just kind of flush in, and add in some of our specific links and resources to it to customize it for us. But gives a good starting point there. So project management to make sure that you have consistent workflows and processes or scope of things so somebody else knows like this is what we're doing, can really help save time and create efficiency in your practice. So that's another piece. I was talking to somebody I was mentoring the other day, and he was saying, hey, I'm kind of struggling with social media because I always feel like I'm posting the same thing. I'm always getting pictures of, a certain thing for him. His business, they do some like bathroom remodels. So he's like, I always have a picture of bathroom remodel. I'm not sure what else to say about that. It feels like it's getting kind of old. So we did something in here. And we just said like, create 20 social media ideas for using picture of a bathroom remodel, promoting your services. And we did something along those lines, and then it came up with ideas. So, like I said, brainstorming, or if you're stuck on something, you need an answer to saying, this can be really nice. I've even used it for things like processes like how to transfer certain pictures from, one tool to another or something versus trying to figure out all the things or what people want to sell me on Google with different sites. Just getting more step by step in here for things in our everyday life. So it gives some different ideas of what he could use that were really helpful to him to say, oh, okay, how do I feel like I can keep this fresh? Like we said, you could take any one of these and say, okay, give me the actual caption for this or give me some hashtags If hashtags is new to you, it can really help you with coming up with some ideas for that as well. A few things, the others that we have all kinds of different plugins now as well. And if we go to a new chat, I've got one plugged into here that's kind of cool that you can do different. It gives you different kinds of things. Your where's one monthly content calendar in a click, and we're gonna say financial services. Gonna go somewhat broad there, and now it's thinking. It's slowed down a little bit, but I did this earlier, and it came up with a whole outline of days and kind of what you could do. And then you could certainly personalize those. So, no shortage of ideas. Never feel like you are stuck. So, one of the things that you can think about, I'll let this run and share something else with you. Is this format that one of my colleagues that I get to brainstorm with, that's a master in creating ideas, Pat Miller, the idea coach, he shared this framework that he's finding really helpful is start with a clear request exactly what it is that you want it to output. Give it some context. Who's writing? Say that write this assuming I am a small business owner, or I'm a financial advisor in the Milwaukee area working with pretty much mostly physicians that are super busy, that you can give it some context so it knows a little bit more about who you're talking to and who you are. Give it structure. Do you want paragraphs? Do you want bullet points? Do you want it to speak in a certain tone or a certain style? And give it detail. Anything else that you want it to share that can help it complete the task. And then, like I said, the more you give it, the better it'll go. But if you even just kind of continue to refine it, it can get better and better. And then you can add in your own personal style to that, or supplement it in certain things that really make it where it's still you, where it does take that human element, but now it's saved you so much time and helped you get a lot of creative ideas or better worded content than you may have otherwise. So let's flip back over here and see what we got. If I can get back to my new chat. Here we go. Oh, it didn't like that I went away. So it started it. Sometimes it doesn't like when you're trying to do too many things at once. But it's slowly working on here, putting dates and titles of what you could do. So especially some of you that maybe you're looking for something maybe more personal, like, hey, I have this situation, but I have no idea how to talk about it. It's a great thing in here. Like I said, you could also use it for email replies or something. Maybe I want to be more supportive in my message, or how can I be more emotional? Some of us are much more emotional communicators, and sometimes we're more tactical, logical communicators. I know for me, that's where I tend to be. So it can help me to pull out a little bit more of that emotional connection, or take the time to do it when maybe I would not on my own, or I would rush through that, or do not do that as effectively, by having somebody that, right there along with me, having that technology that can help me do it really quickly and efficiently. So it says, the top 10 financial services every business needs, and it's working on it. So once in a while, you'll find things you're like, oh, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. But it's been really effective in many, many different ways for me. And I hope if you have not tried it out, that you do. That it's play around with it, get your feet wet, because it is not going away, that we might as well embrace it and start to learn about some of the ways that it can help us do our jobs more efficiently and to be able to generate better results. So I'm sure I'll be back more with some additional things, but I didn't want to completely overwhelm you. And I'm still exploring some of the different things that are out there, and which ones are really going to stick around longer term as well. But I encourage you to get started. It will just transform things for you, I promise. So let me know if you've been using it, or if you've used some of the different AI plugins or apps, and what's your favorites and what you're doing. Anything we can learn from each other. We can just keep making our lives all the better, so that we can spend our time playing our position, doing what we do best, and scoring more ideal clients and raving fans. So we'll see you next week. Have a great week.